Can you imagine, like, there's some instances at school, especially when I was a teenager, I'll do something just wrong one time and people would, like, it would be the talk of the town for that, like, maybe just few hours.
Right.
But for the whole semester,
You've been good. You've
I
been
am
kind.
thinking
Yeah.
that everybody that is looking at me is remembering that thing.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Gap We Live In podcast, where we share life, purpose, and everything in between. Make sure you join the conversation and leave with tools to build bridges instead of burning them. I hope you get the ideas you need to make the gap smaller instead of increasing it. Because remember, whatever it is, you're not stuck. If you are struggling to figure out how you would love different people, because that's another thing that I realize. It's because, I'm a giver. I love giving.
Right.
But so many times it's so hard to know how to give efficiently. But I love what you said about you first know who you are.
Yeah.
And then you do that extra step of figuring
Absolutely.
out how those other people want to be given to and being loved. So that book, I will definitely put it in the comments. And then another thing that I want us to share is one other quote or words that I read, and I was like, that's very relatable.
Right.
And I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Is the leadership role I take are often invisible. Not on the org chart, not paid extra. So that can be career, that can also be in the homes and everything. But I do the organizing, the mentoring, the emotional labor, and nobody notices.
Yeah.
So there's that thing of, oh my gosh, I think every woman, honestly, every woman would have felt that in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But then we're expectant to keep going without the recognition.
Yeah.
And that's a gap that, oh my goodness, we always found ourselves in. And it's so hard to, we're human beings. And it's not like you are doing because you want something back. It's not transitional, but it helps. Let's be honest. When somebody says thank you, it helps you do it the next time. But have you experienced that? And walk me through how you found yourself in those gaps, be it in career, be it in your relationship with your sisters, your brothers, or just your family in general, and how have you been able to overcome that gap or build bridges to go the other side?
It's such an interesting question.
Yeah.
Actually, I could name 1,000 things.
Tell me about it.
I believe that we all, like you mentioned, we all go through something like that, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And for instance, you've done things for other people and they have never recognized that you have done that, And oftentimes I've realized is that it also relates to how people perceive things.
Okay.
Like you might be burning out. Like, for instance, it goes back to that love language, I know
how we love.
Yeah, how we love and how we do whatever. For a person, you might come home, you have cooked, you have cleaned, and you have done everything. You are like, if this person enters this house, the only thing I want to hear is praises. Hello.
Like, at least say something.
But this person is like, their love language, let's just say it's just gift. They're just gonna come, feel like it's normal. It's beautiful that the house is clean, but it feels normal to them. Like,
gosh.
So in that moment, you'll be waiting for a thank you. That person will just see it as a
another day.
Here's another day in my life. There were days I was just frustrated. I was
Tell me about it.
Hello.
Like, somebody home?
Yeah, so there was this one time, like, I think I had this fraction with a friend, like this misunderstanding with a friend. And I don't know, it was just something that was said by someone, And I just reacted to it. I was like, I didn't know she was the one who said it. I just reacted to it,
Okay.
And then she came back. She was like, oh, I could not believe that you could say something like that and whatever. But like while we were having that conversation the whole time, I was like, you must be kidding me. Like, girl, we've been through a lot together. Like, we've been through so many things. Like, I've shown you love in multiple ways that I cannot even express. Like, I could list the many things that I've done for you. What makes you think that this one thing, all of a sudden, you've taken everything, now you think that I hate you? So it is in those moments for me that puts me off the most, because you've done a lot of things. It's not even that I waited for a thank you, but in those moments that could make a person take all the love that you've given them and turn them into zero. You know, it's kind of like you've done, let's just say even at work, you've done all the best the whole year.
Oh my goodness.
That one,
that's one mistake.
Yeah, this one mistake you did unintentionally, or this one thing that you did all of a sudden erased everything. So for me, I feel like I've had those instances where I felt like I've given a lot. It's not even that I waited for a thank you, but I wanted you to reflect on these moments at least before you come to me. You get what I'm saying?
Well. Oh gosh, no, I remember.
Yeah.
But then, okay, without cutting you off, I found that in my life, I'm actually the one that puts that so much on myself.
Oh, really?
Like I would.
Please explain.
Oh my goodness! Like I would like let's give an example of my husband.
Yeah.
I would be, just normal life, do what I'm supposed to do, or
Yeah.
all that, and then I mess up one day, and then he comes home and like I've done, or
Yeah.
I've misrepresented, like just something
small,
and then he
yes.
just gives me the feedback. I would not sleep at night.
Oh, really?
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, I failed my husband.
Yeah.
Like what is he really thinking? And then these are the gaps, guys. These are the gaps.
Yeah,
I go
yeah.
back to
Yeah.
somebody who told me you will never be a good wife. You're so selfish. You're not a good cook.
Right.
How do you think your husband will actually love you if you don't cook for them?
Yeah.
Now I internalize all these things that I don't do for my husband because
Right.
it's one thing,
One item,
that
yeah.
he said was not the best.
Yeah.
He did not go to sleep in another room. Like it's not the end of the world. He's next to you, but
yeah.
I would not sleep the night. Like it happened to me so many times,
Yeah.
and we've had those conversations
yeah.
where he even forgot about it. Like, like
That's what happens with most people, It's just that you will take it to heart, but people have moved on.
And that has
Moved on,
happened so
yeah.
many times for me, even at school. Can you imagine, like, there's some instances at school, especially when I was a teenager, I'll do something just wrong one time and people would, like, it would be the talk of the town for that, like, maybe just few hours.
Right.
But for the whole semester,
You've been good. You've
I
been
am
kind.
thinking
Yeah.
of that everybody that is looking at me is remembering that thing.
Yeah.
Help us, help the people. I think it has gotten better because
Yeah.
now my husband always say just talk to me about it, and then he like basically debunked that lie because it is a lie. But let's like help. I mean, have you counted that where
have you
you
been
feel like
through that? Yeah.
sometimes I'm like it's the end of the world.
world.
If Jesus comes right now, that would be amazing. Oh, it has happened to me so many times that I can count.
But that shows
I've become
that
so
doesn't that
hard
show
on
that you are a
myself.
caring person though? Like if something
know.
Yeah, it does. Because let me tell you, an uncaring person, they would be sleeping too. You are awake because you are a caring person and you want to be better and you want to do better, So
But
that's
it
why
kills me. So
it does, but I think you also you should learn. That's why you should learn to give yourself grace.
Give yourself grace.
And it goes back to that mentality of you have to be perfect. You have to be. It is important to remind yourself you are human.
Oh my gosh! Sometimes I remember
You are human.
so many stories of me thinking like I just killed my sister. Like I did something that maybe
No.
in the wrong way, and then she copied me, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I just killed her. In my head, obviously,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
of course, I mean, my sister is amazing.
Right.
She is thriving.
Right.
It was
Such a beautiful young lady.
right, and she's
Yeah.
thriving. She has grown up.
Right.
Sometimes I look at her, I'm like,
Oh my
girl,
God,
let's.
I remember when you guys came to visit us. Like she was like so cute, and now she's
now
just
she's even better.
so grown. Yeah,
so grown. Now she's an aunt. She
Yeah.
is, all the things. But what is it like for you? And help me. And I mean, we're learning here together because I'm a work in progress, guys. I'm
Yeah.
a work in progress. I find myself in the gap. That's why we're having this podcast
Yeah.
and giving that space of figuring out how do you give yourself permission to give yourself grace, even if you have all those other voices that are telling you, hey,
yeah,
you might as well just die now.
yeah. I think that it's such an interesting thing, to be honest. With we humans want to be perfect, especially towards the people we love.
Tell me
oh my
about
God,
it.
like I don't want any bad record. You are my friend. You are the person that I'm in a relationship with. You better not be keeping any list of any of my wrongdoing because. To begin with, I don't want there to be like any list to begin with. You get what I'm saying? So with people that we love, we want to be perfect. We want to be loving so perfectly, kind so perfectly, but we are humans, So we can only do so much, and oftentimes we fall short. Or even like in a few times we might fall short. So in those instances, it's okay to say, okay, maybe I made a mistake here. Because in the instance, like with my friend, I was like, girl, get yourself together. But then I thought about it. I was hurt. I was hurt because she was hurt. And then her criticism felt deep to my heart because I really love you. And I wouldn't intentionally do something to hurt you.
Right. Right.
So in that moment, and I thought about it like multiple times, like because when she told me in that moment, I was like, go by friendship over. What do you mean? But somehow, I mean, thanks to the Holy Spirit who always talks to me, there's this funny thing that happens with me when I'm by myself. It's like a voice. It says, calm down. You are human.
Yeah.
You are human.
Yeah. You are. We are.
You are not perfect. If you were perfect, you probably wouldn't do this. But hey, here we are. You are human. You know that you've hurt this person. If they come to you and they told you this is not good, it's probably because they felt some type of way. It is not because they hurt you. They want to hurt you. They just expressed what they felt in the moment. And so for me, that's how like now I'm able like to deal with to filter certain things. The person does not hate me. This person does not hate me, which sometimes come off like that. Like any criticism often means he doesn't like me. She doesn't like me. She hates me. No, sometimes
it's either positive or negative.
And even if their feelings might be wrong in the moment, but that is how they feel. Now, once you've determined that, first of all, I'm human. I can make mistake. Secondly, this person was hurt. Whatever they say, they might mean it or not, but they felt hurt at least in that moment. Now, we get to the third step. Let's have a conversation with this person. I will tell them, look, this is how things happened. This is what I felt in the moment. This is why this happened. Give them a chance to talk to you as well. Because I've found that once people have let go of the anger, you actually realize it's not that how can I say it? It's not that the problem was big as you imagine in your head, but it's more that you just needed to be on the same page again with that person. And sometimes that requires a conversation.
Or two. Or three.
Stop killing yourself with guilt. I'm dying. Like how can I solve this right now? Just give yourself space, think about what you did, think about how they felt, which is sometimes often we don't do. Sometimes we think about us, me, what I'm feeling. Think about the other person. There's probably a reason why they mentioned it. There's probably a reason why they acted like that. Get into the conversation with the person, and then let's resolve the issue.
What if that person, there's no space for that to happen?
For you to think, for you
no. For them, like if that person doesn't give you that space of coming back and saying, of resolving that issue, because that also happens too, because both of you are in the gap, and then you find yourself that you're the one who is willing to work on your gap,
but the person does not want to,
or they're not ready, or it might be different circumstances, but like how do you be in peace even though you know that you hurt that person in that moment, but they're not willing to reconcile
with you?
Yeah.
That's a hard question, to be honest.
Yeah, because
I don't know if I answer that.
Especially in family, because I think part of it is a lot of we do have different ways of dealing with conflict, and that's kind of what we're trying to do in this podcast. Is conflict are normal. It's actually an opportunity for you to build a better bridge or to build a better foundation relationship.
Yeah.
But some people, when there is conflict,
they just
it closes at least for a season. Like they're gonna love you from afar, and then maybe you will never. Like, I guess my question here is, how do you know you should push, or how do you know you should just
give space?
No, just
let it go,
at peace with you, and just let it go.
That's a hard question, because we all love to.
Has that happened to you though, where you've wanted to reconcile with somebody, and it just like there is a block? There is a block. You try to come in, and there is always a block.
Yes,
because that you killed the expectation. They expected you to be there when their dog died, but to you it was not as important as your homework.
Oh, I
see.
see.
By the time you come,
the person has moved on.
And it's like, if you don't care about my dog, then you don't care about me. Well, that's just an example.
I think the first step is, first of all, to realize what the mistake is, and to try to approach the person. If the person doesn't want it, I think it's best to give them space, because we cannot dictate how someone is going to forgive us.
Okay, that's
and when they're going to forgive us. They say that time heals. Sometimes you have to give people the space that they need. We process pain differently. There's someone you're just gonna go at it, have a fight. The next 5 minutes you're talking.
Yeah.
There's some people, some other people, they're like, okay, hold off. I need a month away from you.
Yeah.
Because that's how I'm able to process things.
Yeah.
So it is important to know that pain, just because you said I'm sorry, does not mean that the person has healed and is gonna welcome you with both hands opened. It is important to allow the other person, to be able to process their pain and go through with, and then open up their heart to you again. You can try. What I recommend is, if you love them, really keep trying. Keep trying until that heart opens. But to be honest, you cannot dictate how people like a person's heart. It is very delicate. And people have gone through different things that make them, that can make them withdraw. Like, let's just say if somebody has been through a certain trauma, there's one action. It doesn't have to be something very big. You can do just one action, and they will just cut you off immediately. So sometimes it's not just your actions, but also it might be that your action triggered something else in them, and that is why they are kind of retracting their love. That is why they're assessing if they can trust you again. So it's important to give them the space, but also to pray for them and to pray about the situation. Sometimes if I can't change anything, I just tell God, look, I'm sorry.
Do whatever you
I didn't know what to do this, and I hope this person can forgive me. Yeah, because at that point you let it go.
And that's when I keep thinking of that book of How We Love, because I wish I had it here. I have it at home, but I forgot to bring it. But it gives you different ways of how some people retract, some people become pretenders, some other people become very vocal. So like it's very much the knowledge of like how to handle that. But one thing that I kept thinking of is something I read, and I actually wrote it down, is... And I think it's a lesson that we're hearing. Two things. One is what I'm in. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what I'm hearing is deal with your gap and let the other person, give grace to the other person to find their gap and deal with it. Until they invite you in that gap.
Absolutely, yes.
Unless you're trying to... Because there is both ends, and it depends on people. Because I remember there's some times that I just needed somebody to like even touch me in my gap and say, hey, I see you.
Yeah.
You're still important. Whatever you're going through, I'm here. There's that, but there's also that person, like, don't even come close. So that's the one thing that I'm hearing is deal with your gap. Figure out the mistake you made, how you might have hurt that person, and be at peace with, like, deal with that. And then try to figure out the bridges. And those bridges, you might try one, it doesn't work. The other one, it doesn't work. And sometimes those bridges, it is just praying, because there's no way around that.
Absolutely.
And the second thing is leadership is not about control.
Absolutely.
It's about clarity.
That's so true.
Again, leadership is not about control. It's about clarity. Because I think it just goes back to everything we've been sharing. When you are clear about who you are, then you become clear about what you bring.
Absolutely.
And then when you become clear what you've done, then you can be clear about what you could do to fix it.
Absolutely.
So those are, like, I guess, tips to find the gap that you might be living in, and then potentially find the conversations, the questions you need to ask yourself.
Exactly.
Then leadership will be there. Then you can find yourself leading well. And in love. Because that's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Right?
I do agree with you on that. Being a leader isn't about, like you said, control, because that is often what is portrayed. Control. You say one word and everybody acts in order.
I know, right? Movie.
That's what you think a leader is. But truly, a leader, to me, they understand the room they're in. Like, you understand the culture, you understand the people you're with, and you understand who you are.
But it starts with you.
Because
then you have the right lenses of looking at those other people.
Yes. Because if you think, like, let's just say if you get in a room with stubborn people, and then you try to act with control and whatever, for some, it might work.
For a season, a little bit.
For a season, but it may backfire at the end of the day. So you need to know first who you are, and you need to know who the people who are with you and how you can deal with them. So it's very important that as a leader, you first of all find yourself. Find yourself, find your gifts, find your strength, and find your weaknesses too. So it's very important to...
And that's what I'm hoping that this podcast is encouraging everybody to do. Is that... Because, I mean, I studied leadership in college, like undergrad, and that was the first class was, what type of leader are you? What are your strengths? And I'm like... I don't even know. I mean, I guess I'm strong because I'm controlling and I know what's up at home. but but then once another thing, strength finders. Cliff, I forget his name, but he has this basically strength finders. There's a lot of ways that you can find like your strengths and everything. Sometimes it's even free online. You can find your strength.
Yeah.
But now, because I know those strengths, I have like they give you like 5. I think like when you buy the book, you get like 5 of them or something like that. I did it while in college.
Yeah.
I remember when I did that, I would walk into rooms and I'm like, oh, yeah, I am.
Yes.
I am strategic. That's why I'm
Right.
having this conversation.
Exactly.
My gift is learner. That's why I'm asking this many
Absolutely.
questions to whoever can give me
Yeah.
answers. So that kind of gave me permission to exercise who I am. So
Yeah.
it can be as simple as that.
Absolutely.
As find 5 of your strengths and start there.
Yes.
And then the expectation and the pressure for allow yourself for that to fall off a little
Absolutely.
bit.
Yeah.
And
the greatest thing is that when you allow yourself to be yourself, you shine the brightest. The reason is because
Say it louder for the people in the back.
When you start like to act like yourself, or when you allow yourself to be yourself, like as who God created you to be, you shine the brightest, because there's only one unique Gwendoline.
Yeah, there's only one.
And in Gwendoline, there are unique abilities that God has created. And I love this. There's a book that I was reading. It was talking about how that God makes us a gift to the world.
Give me that book. I'll put it in the comment. I'll put it in the description.
So God makes us. Basically, God wrapped up Gwendoline and He gave to the world to be a gift to them.
Amen.
Now, if I try to make that that gift, let's just say if the gift is, I don't know, I'm trying to find like a simple example.
Well, what do you think I'm a gift to you?
I think
Wow.
I think you are the most positive person I've ever met. Really,
Goodness.
you are like the way you talk about people, your family, like marriage, different stuff. I'm like, oh, where are you getting this positivity from? Have you
my
seen the world?
goodness. I don't live in this
So
world.
I always feed off of positivity.
Thank you.
These things are possible, you know.
Yeah.
You remember the other day I asked you, like, do you ever have any difficult times? Because it looks like
Girlfriend.
it looks like you do everything so well, you know.
Oh my Lord. Well, that's gonna be another podcast for
another
another day,
podcast.
because
Yeah.
that is true though.
Yeah.
It's true. And I used to feel like then that brings me pressure.
Yeah.
Instead, now that I'm hearing, because you're not the only person, a lot of people have told me that like I
Yes.
bring joy when I go in rooms. I bring bright. And mind you, my first name is Gwendolyn. It's
Right.
Albright, sorry.
Right,
It's Albright.
exactly.
I'm bringing this is my dad had a revelation.
He did and
but
did.
then
Yeah.
I took it as pressure, like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna bring? But then when I just
You know.
accepted it and I'm okay with it,
Yeah.
then the permission is there to be it. To just
Absolutely.
be.
Yeah. Now, imagine if we tried to make Gwendoline this serious person who talks less, who doesn't like interact people only just when she needs them. We would not benefit from your brightness.
Yeah.
We would not benefit from your joy.
Yeah.
That those small things that you think are little, you know, are what actually strengthens other people. Like oftentimes our gifts are not very loud. They're just walk in silence. It could be that smile that you gave somebody.
Yeah.
It could be your presence. You know, there are people who walk like in a room, all of a sudden like the mood changes.
Yeah.
You know, there is joy. There is, and you just feel it's not that they did anything extra. It's just that in them there's just something.
It's joy of the Lord.
It's not visible,
Yeah.
but it's there.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, like, when you allow yourself to be yourself, you shine the brightest. You serve, like, you are actually serving the world.
Yeah,
you are
but-
serving God's purpose by being yourself.
Yeah, I love what you're saying because that's. It reminds me of now it's my life verse.
Yeah.
God gave me that revelation through a friend who is also an amazing encourager.
Right.
I always call her when I need encouragement. She's amazing. And when I was deciding if I wanted to go into mission work and everything, I talked to her and she's like, girl, this is you. You go. And then she gave me Romans 8:19. And Romans 8:19 says, creation groans for the revelation of sons and daughters of God.
Yeah.
Oh, and how much more is it so true in this day and age where everybody's struggling. We are struggling. We need you to find who you are so that the gaps will be smaller and smaller and hopefully non-existent in our kids.
Why not?
In our kids,
Why
but
not?
but that's why this podcast is here to say we live in those gaps now, and the goal is to encourage people to figure that out. Like actually realize that they might be living in a gap, and that space of like going to that being a gift.
Yes.
Instead of wrapping more layers on that gift, instead of unwrapping to find out what that gift is. Because I think about my daughter all the time now.
Yes.
She's a gift to the world right now.
She is.
And now my responsibility, which I think that's where our communities goes wrong, is not to wrap more stuff of you need to be the oldest daughter. That's another thing that she needs to uncover. And then another thing.
Yes.
What my role is, and a lot of our roles as aunties, as friends, as people, because it takes a village, honestly. It does take a village. Let nobody lie to you.
Yeah.
Is to give her that space of unwrapping one more thing.
Yes.
Now she's starting to point at things and then realize things. Like the other day, now when I take her my phone, she's like Papa, because she thinks I'm gonna call her dad. And that it's the love that she wants to talk to her dad, and like those things just give that space, which we have not, a lot of us have not given that space to figure out. And it took us more years than it should have.
It did. It did. And that's because the world has been, which is crazy, has been trying to make us all one product that looks like each other.
Yeah.
But I think God has revealed to us that He likes diversity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if you look at trees, there are so many different trees.
Yeah.
None of them look like each. I mean, some of them might look like each other, but
that's so different.
They're different.
It's so different.
Yeah, like there are different types of cars.
I know,
there are
right?
different types of colors. God did not create one color.
Right.
But now the world is teaching us to be this one type of person. It's either a model. It's either this rich person. It's either, and then every other person is labeled as useless. Like, how can I say? I'm trying to find like proper words to say, but I feel bad that the word is teaching us to all be one thing when God has created us to be diverse, and it is in that diversity that we actually serve one another with different gifts that God has given us. So like you said, it's great to give people the space to actually discover like who are they? What are the gifts in them? Like, because no one knows except God. Who you are, nobody knows. Now your mom, now your parents. They might see a few things here and there, but the capacity of who you can be, nobody knows.
And guess what? The Bible says
Come
The
on, girl.
Bible says
Yeah.
it's the glory of God to conceal things.
Yes.
And it's the glory of man to seek and find.
Absolutely.
Find
you.
that gift, girl.
Find you.
Find that gift guy.
Yes.
Find
yes.
you.
Go out there, explore.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I've read too is people saying, I'm constantly comparing myself. It's actually exhausting. So stop doing that.
Yes.
Let's not.
Yes.
You as a first daughter is different as me being a first daughter.
Absolutely.
But we can learn from each other in terms of finding who I am, for example, because I know it took me thousands of times, you know. But as we wrap up, I wanted to ask you a few more questions. But one question I wanted to ask is also goes back to one of the things that I read, and it's meant to give encouragement and
to someone,
homework. Honestly, homework to somebody listening. Hey, I'm a learner, so I'm like, give me homework.
Yeah.
So if somebody came and told you, I've been strong for so long that I don't even know how to be anything else, what would be your advice to them? And in terms of, and think of that pressure and expectations. So that the pressure and expectations have made her have to be strong all her life, and she or he doesn't know how to be anything else. What are 2-3 things you would tell that person?
That is such a great question. I will tell them that God has given you strength. You know, you're a great person, and thank you for trying to be strong. But a human being, can only do so much. You know, and I'm thinking that in terms of how God has created us, it is not just so one person can be the hero of everyone. It is just so that we can help others. Even the Bible says it is not good for a man to be by themselves, not just only alone, but also to try to do everything by themselves. You know, to try. That's why God gives you family, gives you friends, you know, different types of love around you.
Yeah.
It is because you cannot do it all by yourself. You need a community. You know, where to even I think there used to be this saying that when 2 people help each other, it be like the task become more easier. It becomes more faster. Now, if you try to hold everything by yourself, you can hold on just for so long until you break down. Give yourself grace. Allow others to help you. Allow others to step in for you. Ask for help. Ask for help because, yes, you are strong, you're beautiful, and God has made you as the most wonderful human being. And it's true that you might have been able to take on certain things for a while, but I think it is time that you allow others to help you. I don't think God created you to be the most strong soldier.
Not
on this earth,
to be the senior surgeon.
The senior surgeon. You know, we're not Michael. Come on.
No, we're not Michael Angel.
No, we're not.
Thank you for saying that. It's so true, because a lot of us have not been given that permission to be weak at some point.
Yes.
To be tired at some point.
It is okay.
To be in that gap and be okay with it in that season.
Yes.
But not to stay there.
Yes.
Not to stay there.
Yes.
To find that helping hand.
Absolutely.
Now the more I think about being in the gap and how to build bridges and all of that, I keep wondering, who can I call?
Yes.
Who has the strength to get me out of this mess? And there's always somebody.
Absolutely.
It could be an influencer online.
I know. It could be.
It could be a movie
anybody.
star.
Yes.
It could be a movie you need to watch, or a song you need to read, or a book. It could be anything. So please, don't stay there.
Yeah, take care of yourself. Ask for help.
Yeah.
Take time to rest. You know, there's this one person, she likes to be the most strong person in the room. This one day, like, we had been all night helping we were preparing for, like, she does some of the she's gonna laugh if she watches this. So she does some of the decorations, but she also had like other church stuff to do and whatever. And she was so exhausted, but she was like, "Oh, this problem just came up. I have to go and solve it." I was like, "You're not going anywhere. Stop."
Where
This world is not going to stop
You are
because
not
you are
Jesus.
not there. You're not Jesus. Let these people figure it out.
sometimes I have
Yes.
to tell myself that.
Yeah,
I have to tell
that-
myself, you are actually not the savior of this
No,
world.
you are not. You are not. And that's how most people
hard.
end up sick. You know,
Yes.
that's how like all these crazy diseases come. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true,
Because you have
that's true.
exhausted your mind, you have exhausted your heart,
Tell me
you have
about it.
exhausted your body. And oftentimes, even when we are doing good things, sometimes we are justifying, that pain. Oh, I
Yeah.
did something good, so like.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. Stop justifying that, especially if your body is signaling to you you
Listen,
are
man,
tired.
listen.
To it. There are reasons
Listen.
why. Look, there are reasons why God put like signaling,
signals.
warning in your body. Listen to them.
Yes.
Listen to them. Let others figure them out. If you were not there, they would.
They will be
Yes,
okay.
they will be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Oh
word
my
is not
gosh.
ending.
Thank
Yes.
you for giving us permission
Yeah.
to not be the strongest in the room all the
Yes,
time. And the last
absolutely.
question as we wrap up, this is the question I love asking my guests.
Yes.
And this question says, if you think about yourself half of the age you are today, what would be 2 or 3 things that you would tell her, especially if she finds herself in some gap? It could be, depending on the age you would be, it could be a gap in relationship, it could be a gap in career, it could be a gap in whatever. So what would be an advice to your younger self half of the year
What
that
would
you
I
are?
tell her? I would tell her that nobody else knows who you are except God. Nobody else can define you except God. And that there's so many great things God has given you, that you are a gift to the world.
Yeah.
You are a gift to the world. And that does not depend on a failure of one simple exam, on one failure, on that one thing that,
Delivering some people here.
on that one mistake that you made. And even if you made a mistake, the one who made you will put back on track. So that's what I would tell my younger self, because I feel like there were days when when I struggled a lot with some of the failures and some of the, and I beat myself up a lot. Oh, I should have been better, should have done better, I didn't give myself grace.
Yeah.
And there are other times where I let other people talk into me, some of their fears, tell me who they think I am.
Yes.
But
oh Lord, yes.
allowing myself to discover who God has created me to be has made me to be the best gift that I can be to those who are around me. So that's what I would tell my younger self.
I love that.
Yes.
Oh, well, with that, I
Yes.
hope people
Yes.
are taking homework, that you
Yeah.
are jotting things you're going to do this week to figure out the gift that you are to this world.
Absolutely.
And if you are in any type of gap, you're still that gift.
You are.
It is an opportunity for you to unwrap that gift
Absolutely.
one more time.
It's not too late.
It's not too late. It's never
not
too late.
It's never too late.
Yeah,
It's never too late. Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much,
Thank
Daniela,
you,
to be
Gwen.
on the Gap We Live In podcast. You have been an amazing guest.
Yeah.
And I am so encouraged. I
It's
am
been such a great time.
I am so sure that a lot of us have been
I
while
hope
listening
so.
to you.
I hope
So
so.
definitely
Yeah.
go look at their podcast, Cash and
Yes, Cash and
Clarity.
Clarity.
It's a lot of good stuff,
Yeah.
because I think that's a lot of gaps that we found ourselves in, still
Right.
are,
Don't we?
with
Yeah.
cash and everything.
Well, we'll get there.
But
we'll
here
get
we
there.
are. We're gonna learn from you guys.
And we'll
from
keep
each
learning
other.
from you as well. We'll keep getting germs from you. Let me tell you.
Absolutely.
We can't wait to hear more from you.
Absolutely. And here,
Yes.
here I am. I realized that this might be part of the gift that I am to the world.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for tuning in,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you.
I am so honored and privileged to
Yeah.
be an encouragement to you, if you let me, and give you permission to find the gaps that you live in, so that we can build bridges and not make those gaps bigger, but make them smaller, so we can get out of them and be
Yeah.
the gift that we are meant to be.
Exactly.
All right. Again, this
Yeah.
is The Gap We Live In. I am your host, Gwendolyn Albright. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day or night,
Yes.
or whatever you are having right now. All right. See you in the next episode.
See you.